Don't get excited when you notice a synchronicity. We termed it as supernatural, but in fact it is the greatest natural life experience we can access. Synchronicity is an ever-present reality for those who have eyes to see, said Jung. But how did he come to this conclusion? Being still a teenager, one day Carl saw a solid oak table suddenly split right across him. Moments later, a strong steel knife broke in pieces for no apparent reason. His superstitious mother, who also witnessed both these events, looked at him significantly and nodded. This made Jung wonder what it was all about. At that time, he was just a 16-year-old boy sitting in the kitchen of his home, trying to understand what just happened. Later, he learned that some of his relatives had been attending séances with a medium, and they asked him to join them. For Jung and his mother, these occurrences, apparently separate, became linked together in a meaningful way. These happenings actually stimulated him to join in the séances. The influence of the events was undeniable, shaping the trajectory of his explorations into the mysteries of the psyche. The Western world was still in denial of anything supernatural. It was something similar to modern cancel culture. People who dared to explore this topic had to stick together. With the inspiration of Einstein, who was invited to be professor in the same university where Carl Jung worked, Jung finally had the scientific validation for his theories. We might call Carl Jung great psychologist and therapist, but what he essentially was is a person trying to understand what was happening around him. As you are trying to see into the connection of the events, so was Jung connecting dots for most of his life. We all are seeking meaning out of chaos, and synchronicities provide us with that message. Synchronicity has one very persistent pattern. It often unfolds through a collection of small, seemingly unrelated events that culminate in a profound insight. Even if each occurrence appears trivial on its own, together they create a web of meaning. After all, we live in a world that is filled with intelligence. This gradual build-up shows each of us that synchronicity isn't about isolated moments, but rather a flow of experiences that guide us toward greater understanding. Let's talk about how synchronicities build up over time. It starts simple, with numbers and words popping up at the right moment and sequence. While this is just a way to get your attention, the more subtle messages come later. They usually meaningfully match the time of your thoughts, creating the sense of unity of inner and outer worlds. With each added piece of information, the storyline unveils more and more. People you don't know will interact with you, and things that had almost zero chance of happening will start to happen. At this point, you're not just amazed by magical coincidences, but you are fully participating in this multi-dimensional conversation. In magic, this is called thinning of the veil. We must, however, not underestimate the significance of even simple occurrences such as numbers and words. These so-called elemental synchronicities can give us precise and necessary messages. Numbers are codes, and so are words. There were once 11 Chinese generals, and they had to vote if they should attack or retreat. They voted, and 8 were for attack, and 3 were for going back. Therefore, they retreated. The 3 had won out because 3 is the number of harmony. 3 is a better number, qualitatively, than 8. So the people who hit the 3 won out. This is how deeply Chinese culture understood the subtle vibrations of numbers. If you want to know more about the number codes, write a comment down below, and I will make an in-depth video about it. As Jung stated in last year of his life, the numbers are probably the most primordial archetypes out there. They represent the actual matrix of the archetypes. The realization gained during this experience evokes clarity and a sense of destiny. Arguably, the most important aspect in a person's life is exactly that sense of destiny when we feel actively participating in the unfolding of life. As Joseph Campbell beautifully stated, "Follow your bliss and the universe will open doors where there were only walls." When we recognize these patterns, we're tapping into a larger narrative, one that's been waiting for us to notice. So lean into that excitement and trust that you're on the right path. Once you start noticing synchronicities, they tend to show up even more frequently. It's as if the universe is saying, "Oh, you're paying attention now, let's have some fun." This amplification creates a feedback loop where your awareness fuels even more synchronicity. It can be very transformative, leading to personal insights and shifts in your perspective. Think of it like this: when you start noticing the beauty around you, life becomes richer and more vibrant. It feels as though reality itself is amplifying these signs, but in truth, it's our mind filtering and aligning with that specific frequency. What we focus on expands. The room itself holds endless possibilities, ideas, opportunities, emotions. But only where you cast your light do things come into view. As you focus, the beam widens, illuminating more of what you've chosen to pay attention to. And suddenly, what was once subtle or hidden takes center stage, growing in significance. Think of it like gravity. Your attention creates a gravitational field around whatever you're concentrating on, and soon other related thoughts, experiences, and people start to gravitate towards you. If you focus on challenges, challenges multiply. If you focus on possibility, doors open. The timeline of synchronicity might follow a certain pattern that boosts the emotional weight. During this time, events might resonate with us on a deeper level, making us more receptive to noticing their significance. A song that played during a pivotal moment in your life may reappear at crucial times, evoking memories and emotions that prompt reflection or change. The emotional connection can amplify the synchronicity, reinforcing the message it carries. It's like when you're in a vulnerable or heightened emotional state. Your mind and heart are more in tune with the subtle shifts around you. You notice patterns that would have gone unnoticed when you were more distracted or less engaged. It's not just a song playing again, it feels like it comes back with purpose, like a reminder or a nudge from the universe. This emotional connection makes synchronicity feel alive, like it's something you're meant to experience at that exact moment. The feelings that surface aren't just nostalgic, they guide you to pay attention to what's happening right now. It's almost as if life is speaking directly to your emotions, using them to create a moment of clarity. And those moments, when they strike at the heart, have the power to shift your perception in ways that stick with you. So, when you experience synchronicity during an emotionally charged time, it's not just the event itself that matters. It's how the emotion amplifies your awareness and connects seemingly unrelated moments into a greater pattern. It's as though your emotions become the key to unlocking the hidden structure of meaning that exists beneath everyday life. Synchronicities don't just happen, they resonate, pushing you towards something you might not yet fully understand, but can deeply feel. Synchronicity often finds its way through our relationships, revealing itself not just in solitary moments, but in our connections with others. You might notice that you and a friend go through oddly similar experiences at the same time, even if you're miles apart. It could be that both of you are dealing with parallel challenges or having the same kinds of realizations. When this happens, it feels like more than coincidence. It's as if you're tuned into the same wavelength, experiencing the same shifts, almost as if something bigger is aligning your paths. These shared moments of synchronicity can deepen your bond with someone because there's this sense of understanding that doesn't need a lot of words. You both just get it because you're going through similar things, right? And that shared experience creates an unspoken connection. It's as if life is showing you that your individual journeys are linked, even if they're unfolding in different ways. You see how synchronicity doesn't just touch one person, it can ripple through relationships, offering a kind of mutual insight that strengthens the ties between people. What's powerful about synchronicity in this context is that it reminds us how interconnected we all are. You realize it's not just about personal revelations, but about shared experiences that reflect a larger collective pattern. Jung's insight that synchronicity does not just occur in solitude highlights this perfectly. It's a reminder that we don't move through life in isolation. Our experiences, thoughts, and even challenges can mirror those of the people close to us. And when synchronicity shows up between two people, it feels like a sign that your lives are intersecting in a meaningful way, drawing you closer on a deeper level. The timeline of synchronicity can be particularly vivid in the context of nature. Many people report noticing patterns in the natural world that align with their personal journeys. For instance, seeing a specific flower bloom at a time of personal growth can feel like a cosmic affirmation. This perspective encourages a deeper relationship with the natural world, suggesting that nature communicates through synchronicities, guiding us along our paths. As you become more attuned to the signs around you, the timeline of synchronicity often speeds up. This heightened awareness allows for more frequent and intense experiences of synchronicity. Journaling and meditation can cultivate this intuitive awareness, making it easier to recognize the connections between events. As you reflect on your experiences, you may begin to see how your intuition has been guiding you all along, creating a sense of flow in your life. The speed makes all the past karmic lessons seem easy and small, as moves you deeper into collective consciousness. You start to see lessons that are not your classic self-development lessons, but more transpersonal. They will appear at great speed, and the moment you acknowledge one, the other will show up. Once we're in the timeline of synchronistic occurrences, the subtle things become more apparent. It's very much like gossamer threads, those incredibly delicate, almost transparent strands like spider silk or fine fabric. They're light, fragile, and often hard to see unless you're really looking for them. In life, they symbolize those subtle connections and experiences that seem insignificant at first but can lead to something much bigger. Now, when we think about synchronicities, they fit into this idea perfectly. So how do we know we are living in a state of synchronicity? When we're living in total synchronicity with life, everything works out in the most positive, easy, and effortless ways. You make a spontaneous appointment with a friend and it becomes this perfectly coordinated event that fits intelligently together with all the other events of your day. Our everyday interactions with people simply flow in the most creative, expansive, and spontaneous ways. It's truly magical, the connection that we can experience by aligning our mind, heart, and soul with this great universal intelligence. We can see the perfection within ourselves and how this is reflecting back to us in the universe. There is a feeling of being one with the entire universe, and within this sensation we discover our inherent ability to connect with our very own soul. Life is meant to be a spiritual experience. We are not supposed to miss out for one moment on the sweetest, most succulent part of it. All of our souls want to wake up from the nightmare and realize how incredible and magical each moment of life truly is. This daily, positive, synchronistic miracle is our reward for opening up to our spiritual nature. If you feel stuck on this path, here are a few steps you can take to adjust your sails. The first secret step to experiencing the magic of synchronicity every day is letting go of any tight, contracted, or controlling relationship you have with time. When schedules are too tight and there is no room to be spontaneous, it is harder to feel your intuition calling you in a certain direction. It can feel almost impossible to notice the magical synchronistic world around you when you're late for a meeting. By establishing a new relationship with the clock, you can become the master of it instead of it making a slave out of you. Just think about the day that you'll arrive on your deathbed. How will you want to look back at the way you lived your life? Do you want to feel as if you were rushing against the clock and a slave to time your entire lifetime? The initial step in letting go of time means opening your mind to trusting the feeling of timelessness. This basically feels like everything is going to be perfect, even if you're a few minutes late or a few minutes early. You are getting a taste of your soul, which is eternal, and feels as if you're carrying a deep feeling of trust in your body. This timeless trust allows you to relax and become attuned to your highest intuition. The body is relaxed and the monkey mind is no longer in charge, allowing the heart to hear the divine guidance trying to poke through. The second step to living in complete synchronicity with life comes down to our willingness to stop any resistance, avoidance, or internal battle with life. We simply have to get tired of the struggle before we can completely surrender. It can come down to letting go of living in fear, being deeply aware when it's plaguing our emotions, and choosing to explore a complete and deep release of it. Once we trust that our inner guidance is never wrong and is always showing you the way, we have nothing to fear anymore. Our guidance will notify us about the when, where, what, and how. Intuition is never wrong, it's only our mind's interpretation of it that can be off. We simply need to learn how to listen, and we will find and everything always falls into perfect place. Whenever we worry, withhold love, or are living in a state of fear, we interact as if we are deaf and blind to God. The mind is busy focusing on what we don't want to happen, worried it will happen because we cannot stop focusing on it. As we keep putting energy into it, we become completely unaware of the ocean of love we are swimming in. If there was one thing that stopped us from knowing ourselves as synchronistic beings, it would be our mind's entertainment of fearful worry. The positive purpose of fear is that it wakes us up and makes us more alert. We start perceiving and seeing the world differently, which then forces us to become even more conscious. When we can welcome our fear and greet it head-on, we suddenly become vibrantly alive. We become excited about the risks we can take in life, and we stop hanging out in our head, being entertained about some fantasy of reality. When we are in fear, we actually start reaching out to find a more spiritual experience of life. Fear motivates us to be extremely conscious and listen to the all-intelligent energy that is inside of us and surrounds us. The third step to living a fully alive synchronistic life is perhaps the most challenging one of all. This is all about establishing a solid connection and relationship with our inner guidance. When we are listening to our intuition, always trusting that our gut feeling knows the bigger picture and sees the future that's coming, we have to surrender our ego in order to trust it all the time. Being aligned with our intuition is an inner dialogue with our most gentle nature all day long. This relationship automatically manifests an experience of synchronicity everywhere we go. Whatever your labors and aspirations are in the noisy confusion of life, keep peace in your soul. When we are attuned with our divine inner guidance, we are the magical flow of the entire universe. There is no separation anymore, we are the same flow, and realize that we never ever were separate. It is in this recognition that we find our most empowered, magical, manifesting state of being. Then we can truly be free to sit back, enjoy the ride, and trust life in the most intimate ways. The real fun begins with the choice to give up fear and let the universe know that we have 100% trust in our inner guidance. Life is worth taking the risk to trust in it. When you do, you'll be deeply surprised at the many healing ways you are rewarded. Each time we trust in life, we start seeing, feeling, and attracting more of these sweet and powerful magical moments. The synchronicities become abundant and are just the universe's way of showing us the spiritual, infinite, eternal being we truly are. The more we allow for, and this natural, timeless, fearless, spiritual existence to come in, the more magical our daily experiences become. With a little practice, this all will organically multiply, and the world will feel like it's continuously blessing us for everything that we do.